Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here then welcome. Today I'm going to be debunking some myths that have been shared online and just generally about working at Walt Disney World. I worked there in the Orlando resort for 2 summers, summer 2017 and 2018, on a UK Disney Cultural Exchange program, which is a type of international Disney college program. Sounds complicated. Basically, I worked in merchandise, worked in the stores, learnt some stuff. Now I'm going to debunk those myths. So without further ado, let's get into the video. The first one all cast members just want everyone to know is you cannot get unlimited free entry for family and friends to the parks. It just doesn't happen. Even more so as a CP, which is a college program student, you just don't get that. So when you join the company on the first day, you get 1 free ticket for a friend in addition to your own main gate pass, which gets you as a cast member into the parks for free. Then after 150 hours, you earn 3 more passes, another 150 hours, another 3, another 150. You get the gist, up to I think it's either 9 or 12. And those passes are valid for 1 day for 1 person. So effectively it's like you could get 9 people in for 1 day. It's not unlimited, it's not just like anyone can come in, no. The other thing about it is that you do have to be present, the cast member, with that guest you're going to let in for free. So of course they're not going to give it to this random person who they went to school with when they were 7 years old and suddenly is like, oh, you work at Disney World, can you get me and my family and my gran and my friend and my boyfriend and everyone in for free? No, they have a limited number of passes. They are not going to give it to you because you just slid on into the DMs because you want some freebies. It works a little bit different for full-timers and part-timers. I believe they can get like a spousal pass or something to let in their husband or wife or whatever, maybe even their kids, depending on how high up you are in the company. But it is not a case of you work at Disney World, you get in for free, you get in for free. That's not how it works. The next one I see talked about a lot online is the idea that there are tunnels underneath the parks which only cast members can access. So there's kind of like 2 parts to this myth that I'm going to debunk. Firstly, these tunnels only really exist underneath Magic Kingdom, which is kind of the main park. It was the first one built. There are a few underneath Epcot, but they're not anywhere near as established as the Magic Kingdom ones. Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom do not have tunnels. However, the other thing about these is they are not actually tunnels. They are built on the first floor, and then the park is built on a floor above. So people call them tunnels because they're kind of like dark and dingy. They're not as glamorous as people seem to think, but they are actually called utilidors. They're not tunnels. They look like tunnels because it's kind of like when you're driving you can go through a tunnel. That's the kind of vibe you're going for down there. They're not like the nicest places. I was very excited to go down there as a cast member. You see Tiana and Rapunzel eating lunch in the break room a few times and then it becomes a bit more normal. But down there is basically where you're going to find the break rooms. You're going to find the Mousecateria, which is, you know, the cafeteria for people who work for the mouse. There's going to be changing rooms, restrooms, it's where all the trash goes, and yeah, it's how people get from land to land without like crossing. So Walt didn't want, say, a Tomorrowland cast member to be seen in Fantasyland because it would kind of disrupt the show. So how people can get around very easily, and also Magic Kingdom is very busy at all times, so it's kind of like a quicker route to get across the park. So this next one I've also seen a lot online, which is that cast members can't say no. This just isn't true. There's not like a list of words we're not allowed to say. The whole idea comes from the fact that we should never respond to a guest and just say like, oh, I don't know. So they have a question. You should go find someone else who does know the answer and make sure you can give them an answer at some point. You don't just leave them hanging. But say it was like thunderstorming and a guest comes up and goes, oh, are the fireworks on tonight? You don't just go yes, you're not allowed to say no. Like you say, oh, unfortunately they had to be cancelled. Say someone was like, oh, can Cinderella come wish my kid good night in our hotel room? Like, no, it's not gonna happen. But you just find a nice way to respond. But of course you can use the actual word no. The next one, again, is one about all cast members, the idea that we have to smile at all times. Firstly, if you work at Haunted Mansion or Tower of Terror, obviously that's not true because they are meant to look pretty grumpy and gloomy to complete the show. But then also it's just not natural. Like imagine if you were just standing at a register with no one coming up to you, just like, it's not gonna happen. Like obviously you work at Disney World, you have to be a pretty happy person, and there were times when I went backstage to the break rooms and I would literally be like felt like I had Botox or something on my face because it hurt so much.
The Botox. I can't show emotion for another hour and a half.
And you just kind of let it drop like, I can still feel that feeling now. And yes, my time working there is probably going to give me premature smile lines, but I'd rather have those than frown lines, so it's all good. So yeah, try and be happy, but it's not like you must always be smiling. There is also a common myth that cast members cannot have tattoos. Again, this isn't true. You just can't have tattoos that are going to be on show. So say you have a costume and you have like a tattoo on your arm, then you would be given a sleeve to wear or a long sleeved option, or if there wasn't one, you'd be moved to a different location. So yes, you can work there with tattoos, it just has to be one that's like accommodating. Like if you had a face tattoo, then that might be a different story. You can't cover them up with makeup either because that's unsanitary. It has to be a sleeve or some costume that's going to cover it. It might be a little bit different for performers, but that's the next myth I'm going to debunk, which is something to do with entertainment. So I obviously worked in merchandise, but I did have a few friends who worked in entertainment and gave me a few little gossip tidbits, I guess. So the first one is that a lot of people seem to think that the performers get their makeup done for them by some dedicated team. No, doesn't happen. They do their own and then it gets approved by a cosmetologist, I think that's what it's called. But yeah, they just do it themselves. It's not as glamorous as people seem to think. The other big one about performers, I'm gonna have to phrase carefully. So say you're friends with a character. People seem to think that when you're hanging out with them, you have a fan to keep you cool. Like, you know, if you're just hanging out with Chip and Dale, they think that you're standing there with a fan, you know, because Orlando's pretty hot. Or they think that there's somehow like a fan inside of your costume or something. No. It's not true. I have heard the analogy used that being a performer is kind of like having a trash can put over your head and then a plastic bag over the trash can and then walking into a sauna. That's just what I've heard, but no, there is no fan or cooling system. You just have to grin and bear it. I know they do have kind of like special signals if they're getting overheated, but yeah, they are just that dedicated to the magic that, like, I was dying in the heat in like my shorts and shirt costume. I'll insert a photo. Like even in that, I was so hot. I can't imagine being in the heavier costumes that entertainment wear, so props to them. Another one that is kind of annoying generally for cast members is the idea that's starting to circulate online thanks to some BuzzFeed videos and stuff like that, that if you complain enough to a cast member, you will get things for free. So firstly, we don't have the facility to just give out unlimited free stuff, but also if you complain, why would they want to give you stuff for free? Like normally there's a kind of guest recovery situation where say something's gone horribly wrong with their day, maybe there'll be some fast passes thrown in or something like that, but it's not just going to be like moaning over nothing. Don't waste your time. You pay a lot of money to be here, just go enjoy yourself. And also, if you complain too many times, there is a way that they can keep track of that and make sure that it doesn't happen again. The final one I'm going to talk about, which is again linked to entertainment, but just generally, it's so annoying. This one's been circulated a lot online, which is why a lot of people think that it's true. It's that if you see the Toy Story characters and you yell, "Andy's coming!" they're all going to drop to the ground. No, this is not going to happen. I think it happened a couple of times a few years ago and people took photos of it and then it went viral and quickly like Disney Entertainment stepped in and was like, no, this is a safety issue, we can't do this anymore. So it's just not gonna happen and people always yell it and it's so annoying, and the character attendant will normally say something like, Andy's at college, he's not here. So just don't bother, just queue up, get your photo, go get a grilled cheese from Woody's Lunchbox, hashtag not sponsored, but I love them, and just let the characters do their thing and enjoy themselves. So that is all the myths that I've got time for today. If you enjoyed this video and maybe learned something new, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below any other myths that you have heard that maybe you want me to debunk in a part 2. I'd definitely be open for that. If you would like to, please subscribe down below for more Disney videos and more general videos about me and my life. If you're interested, I don't know. I have a ton of storytime videos from my time working as a cast member that I will link down below. People seem to generally be interested in those ones, particularly the rude guest stories. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this and I will see you again soon. Have a magical day. Bye! My bracelet always jangles so much.